Hello guys, welcome to 2018, welcome to the channel. If you haven't been here before, I'm Nathan and I run Cambridge Gtechniq. If you have been here before, hello again, thanks for coming back. And I'm working on this black Tesla. This should have been in last year, but it was a bit of a crazy end to the year, so I asked the customer if he minded delaying till the beginning of this year. Working away on the bonnet at the moment, you've seen a lot of the defects all over the car. It's covered in swirls, there's then the polishing marks underneath that. That would have come from the dealership or the factory, and the customer had it washed once during his ownership, which was just over Christmas. So a little bit of a task to try and get these out. Bonnet's a little bit of a pain to polish. Let me show you. Get the light lined up, because you see how soft that panel is, just a tiny bit of pressure on the panel and it moves up and down. So when you're trying to buff it, and especially when you're trying to polish it, any downward pressure just bends the panel, so it's quite difficult to focus that pressure onto the panel, which is a bit annoying because you need to put some pressure down on the bonnet to get the deeper marks out, which there are deeper marks on the bonnet. You would have seen the kind of those little clusters of spirally marks. That's probably where a bit of grit has got stuck between the pad and the paint, and then as it's going round, that grit's just kind of scored its way down as they've moved the polishing pads. That's needing 2 or 3 hits just to get those marks out and then refining. The rest of the car's not coming up too bad, just 1 or 2 hits, focusing on a small area at a time. And yeah, those are coming out. Right, onwards with this car, hoping to get all the polishing done today. Then Gtechniq Crystal Serum Light and EXO going on it tomorrow. It's Wednesday, great start to the day, falling off your stool. I was about to do a piece to camera saying that even though this has got a lot of defects on it, they've actually improved the quality of the paint since the first Teslas I was doing, which had lots of kind of little dust nibs that had then been rubbed out before. If you go back to, I think it was the video I did with the blue Tesla, you'll see that. But then as I was walking around, I saw this little beauty. Let me turn the camera around. Just on the bottom of the boot lid. So just there's a dust nib right in the middle that not only have they left all the sanding lines around, they've actually polished the paint off the head of the dust nib, so it's that white. I know there's dust everywhere else, but it's that white spot there. So that's a bit unfortunate. I'll tidy up the sanding lines around it. Otherwise, not coming up too bad. There's some more around here. Look, I mean, there's general swirls all over the panel, which are pretty obvious. But then just as it goes there, that's a polishing mark. So that's not come from washing. That's come from the dealership or the factory, more likely. where it just then goes much duller. Hopefully you can see and understand that section. It was interesting trying to explain to my brother actually, who's been helping me out with polishing work over the last couple of jobs before New Year, is half the battle is trying to explain to people what they're seeing with the light. So what is a swirl, what's a hologram, what's the buffer trail, which is essentially a hologram, and then what to do to try and correct it, because sometimes obviously when you're using a harsh polish you're then introducing haze but you're getting out the swirls, so it's understanding what the different marks are. And this has got most of the different types of marks. There's another, oh, here we go, another down here, look, general swirls, just on this curve, they kind of bunch tighter together, and as you move you can see them moving slightly differently to the swirls, and that's a hologram. Again, from machine polishing, you've got the swirls that kind of cast their line like this, and then the hologram that's around here that's got different kind of shape patterns. Let's see if we can see any more quickly. There's one there, look. So that's polishing lines. You see the swirls are kind of going in circular motion around the light, and then the hologram up and down lines, which is from machine polishing. So still quite a bit to do, polishing around this side. I'm going to make a cup of tea. Morning, it's now Thursday. Polishing on the Tesla is complete, finished it last night. So about to get started with the Gtechniq coating, which the customer decided to specify the Crystal Serum Ultra instead of the Crystal Serum Light, which he had initially gone for, but we had a chat when he dropped the car off, and decided for the slightly harder coating. You will remember all of the marks that were on the paint. You will know that now this is looking much better. It's been panel wiped down, and it's all ready for the Gtechniq coatings now. So all the swirls have gone. It's now looking nice and glossy. Some of the areas that you saw before that had machine polishing marks, like around this area of the door, where there was lots of little kind of hazy bits from machine polishing, and obviously there was lots of swirls down on the door as well. They're now corrected, and so it's looking as a new car should. 67 plate car this, with very few miles on it, so obviously you expect it to look like an expensive new car. So none of those swirls that you saw previously. Don't know if you remember down on the bottom of the door here there was machine polishing marks. Those are now removed. Paint looking much deeper and glossier than when it came in. So like I say, all this is before the sealant goes on, so this is like the true finish of the paint, all wiped down with Spice Hecker 7010 to remove any polishing oils that might fill those swirls. And it's all in the preparation. I was saying to a customer that came yesterday for a quote, you can put the Gtechniq sealant on to just a clean car, but it's not going to change the way the paint looks. It's not going to change the swirls, it's just going to make it hydrophobic. So all the extra gloss and the looks comes from the machine polishing, which is quite a long process. Hopefully I'll put some more holiday footage at the end of this video. I have no idea where I've got up to because I haven't even made the last video yet, the one before Christmas with the DBS. If you're watching this, you'd have already seen that because I'm going to make them in order. And I'm going to try and do more filming this year, in fact. Maybe not one a week, but we'll just see how it goes. So holiday footage, I think the last one would have been in Cambodia, so that means this time, this is good, this is back to Vietnam. We landed in Ho Chi Minh, and for some reason I decided it would be a good idea to hire a moped and drive 102 miles down to a town called Can Tho. When I looked on the map, it kind of looked that far, but then when I actually did the route, it was 102 miles. Anyway, it was good fun. We got to see a lot of the country. Probably wouldn't spend quite that amount of time on a moped again, but it was a good experience. So I hope you enjoyed the video. At Cam's Autogleam on Instagram, if you want to check out my work there, come and say hello. I tend to upload a few pictures a day, or at least update my timeline each day, so you can see what's going on. Next week is a bright orange McLaren, so I hope you all enjoy that video as well. Until next time, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give us a thumbs up, maybe share it on the forum as well. This morning we left, there's a truck coming on as well. So this morning, that's why he was backing up, because you have to come off this way. So this morning we left Ho Chi Minh about 8:30, and we're trying to ride to a place called Can Tho, everyone seems to call it. Hello. It's about 170 kilometres, so quite a way, maybe biting off a bit more than we can chew, but it's going alright so far, about an hour and a bit into the ride. First river crossing on the Mekong Delta. Don't know exactly which river this is, but they all come from the Mekong. So yeah, glorious day, but burning hot. Locals were all really friendly. This one guy spoke some English. He was saying we could follow him a bit of the way, and I was explaining I had the camera for Google Maps. Yeah, and that's it. Drifting a lot. Sorry?
Nice big house.
Oh yeah.
I just fail to see the difference. Find a boy, find a girl. I just fail to see the difference.
Quick situation update. We are in Tho, something like that. And it is, what time is it? 12:10. We left, oh, there's a white person. It's like the first white person we've seen on the whole trip. Locals are now looking, thinking, wow, there's 3 white people here. So we left the Ho Chi Minh at 8:30. Great ride down through some of the countryside, long, 3.5 hours so far. So we're just going to stay on Highway 1 now, I think, down to Can Tho. And yeah, get down there, check into the hotel, see what Can Tho's all about.
chunk of me.
Do one or three, yeah? I'll do a video.
To see the difference.
Oh, they're all gone.
I just want to see the difference.
Hi, we've arrived, we're alive. 8 hours, I think it was, 8.5, no, 7.5 hours with stops. And we've arrived in Can Tho, I think is how they pronounce it. Just getting food in a typically, although this isn't typically Vietnamese, we've got normal sized wooden chairs. Normally they're tiny little plastic chairs, but booked on our tour tomorrow. We're going down the Mekong Delta, some couple of markets, picking us up at 4:30 a.m. And then we're back at the hotel by about 11:30 a.m. having been to a couple of markets. So yeah, it should be great. Hopefully you see a sunrise on the Mekong and see how they live their lives in all the little boats, going from one boat to the other with their goods and drinks and food. And yeah, that's why we came down. It's officially the halfway point as well, so at least we're not killing each other. Oh yeah, I'll do it on the boat as well, but we got up at 4:30 this morning. It's another surprise video on Abby. We were up at 4:30 this morning and we're deep in the heart of the Mekong Delta. Just been having a look around this floating market, got some good pictures, bit of video, and all the locals are all just kind of sitting around chatting. I don't know if half of it was they're probably waiting for the tourists to arrive, but yeah, it's quite funny just seeing them all kind of interact and converse with each other. They kind of more up next to each other for ages, and then like after kind of a few minutes they seem to swap some fruit and some money and then swap it back again a bit later and everything. But I don't know if, like I say, half of it's for the tourists' enjoyment. But this is one of the smaller but more traditional floating markets because there's not as many of the big motor boat type things here. They're all the stand-up paddle boats, so it's a bit more intimate, a bit quieter. But it's been pretty good, pretty interesting so far. But yeah, like I say, up at 4:30, so been a few hours actually so far. You're not saying anything. Well, you listen to it.
I was wondering when you talking.